1,000 signatures already. At this time, it was already the biggest online petition made in France. We had signatures from individuals, but also from collective associations, NGOs. We had schools, political parties. We had a union of jazz musicians. We had very broad range of people who understood the arguments we made about this law. Of course, we spent 10 days, 24 hours a day, going to every possible forum, sending mail to every possible mailing list, you know, making some buzz around it. And here we were taking that petition in front of the Hôtel de Matignon, which is the residence of the Prime Minister. It's not for the Prime Minister himself we did this, but to be able to tell to the journalists, oh, come, there will be some very nice photos to make. And they did so, and we were interviewed, and there were a few images, and it began to feel bad in the opposite camp. We began to feel some tension, so we were happy, and we were doing more and more and more buzz and noise and all. The thing is, at this point, we had more contacts with journalists. We were, of course, beginning to have contacts with politicians too. And in every possible party in France, we had contacts. No, except for one, very brown and dirty. But every regular political party, we had contacts with them from the left of the left of the left to the very right of the right, the green, the center, everyone. We had identified the people who were aware of those issues. And most important than this, we did a kind of phone storm over the parliament. Oh, it's very pixelated, I'm sorry. Actually, along with all our press releases, we encouraged people to call their local deputy. There's no such thing as people calling his member of the parliament and saying, hello, I live in the place where you might be re-elected someday, and I want to talk to you about some very important matter for me. So there is this law, you don't know nothing about it, and I want to tell you, okay, this is bad for this, and 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 that, and I will send you documents, and of course there are amendments, because, yeah, most important, I didn't tell you earlier, the kind of achievement of our work of documentation was to build, with lawyers of course, amendments of what should be the law if it wasn't that bad, patches, to speak in hacker terms. So we had the patches ready, and we told everyone, oh, do call your member of parliament and tell him that there is a problem, tell him that you can send him documents, and tell him that there are amendments that are already in the corridors of the parliaments, that are already being signed by other members, and tell them to go. We had arguments for every possible political sensitivity, like for the communists, we said, you know, those DRM really forbid the access to culture for everyone. And for the right wing, we said, you know, the competitiveness of French corporation. And so we had food for everyone. So we had accounts from members of parliaments who said to us, it was so horrible. Like all the time, they were calling all the time. And I pick up the phone, yeah, I know, that's CELO, I know, stop calling, yeah. The thing, oh yeah, I know. And really, a friend of mine was talking with a member of parliament at that time, and the phone was ringing every 5 minutes. They were really impressed. So at this point, a very small, unimportant thing that goes along for Christmas was beginning to get a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we got attention from the media, we got attention from politicians, members of parliament of different political sides, and then the exam process of the law by itself begins. We had fun. So people from every possible party were reading entire paragraphs we had written The amendments we had written were signed and put on the list by every major, how do you say? You know, in every party they have the people who know the stuff, so the others don't need to work. They know that yeah, he's good with this, so let's delegate the trust in these people. Yeah. So in every party we had the people who knew, who had our amendments in their pockets, and as you can see, there weren't so many people in the parliament, which is sad for democracy indeed, but which makes easier to influence them. So come on, I mean, we're citizens. We're citizens. We have the right to influence our members of parliament. So, out of the 577 members of parliaments, the average, okay, so to cut into the suspense, the whole process, the whole exam process lasted for about 6 months. Not 6 full months, but maybe 10 to 15 days compared to the 2 intended nights over 6 months in planning for the parliament that isn't that flexible. That's very much more than what intended. So as an average, out of the 577 members, there were maybe between 15 to 20. This is sad. So we did our stuff. The Minister of Culture, who was in charge of that very cultural law, you know, it's just an industrial and technical problem, but okay, the Minister of Culture, everything is normal. So as you see, he was a bit worried, and actually bad things happened to him. I might do this for 1 more minute or something, because I like it very much. And okay, you know, so he had good reasons to be sad, because yeah, he was basically there to lie and say there is no problem at all. Don't worry, free software, everything is okay. Interoperability, how do you say this again? Interoperability, yeah, it's taken care of. And everybody was, sorry, Mr. Minister, but there is a problem with this and this and this. And yeah, so he was in a very uncomfortable position. And okay, I won't spend the full hour talking about this, because I got many other things to tell you. But basically, our amendments were voted unanimously, which never happens in France. All the deputies present at that time at 3 a.m. in the morning, okay, there were maybe 8 or 10, okay, but they unanimously, and they were representing the whole country, voted our amendments. So, yeah, thank you. It was a big deal. It was a really big deal indeed. Basically, our amendment said when someone tried to control an artwork in any possible form, and if you want to attain interoperability, meaning if you're using free software and want to listen to that iTunes or whatever song you bought, then you have the right to do it. You have the right to circumvent, which is normal. It's normal, but actually it puts all the law down on the floor. Hey, sorry guys. So the day after, and I'm not joking, the day after, in the New York Times, then International Herald Tribune, then Washington Post, articles began to sprout talking about the iPod law. And representatives of Apple Corporation of America said, oh, this is so bad for our business. Oh, we shall get out of France. Yeah, you see people from the Ministry of Culture? Those poor little artists who are dying because of the internet? No. This is big US corps wanting to control artworks who were endangered by what we did. So that was a very important part of our demonstration. Actually, it turned quite bad afterwards, but we had managed to demonstrate that this law was made for big US corps. And this was good. So here is the New York Times, forcing iPods to play other than iTunes. The title is completely wrong, because it was the opposite. It might have been not forcing, but allowing songs bought on iTunes to be played on something else than iPod. And this is fair. But okay, so we did it to the New York Times, to the Washington Post. This one I'm very proud of because Wired News said how France is saving civilization. Oh, and it's not ironical. It's not ironical. And the thing was in the cult of Mac, how do you say, section of the website. So this guy was a Mac fanboy, you know how they can be. And he was saying, hey, yeah, it's true. Apple should allow us to do this with the songs we buy them. So it wasn't even ironical. Okay, the noise was there, and then on the second chamber, by some miracle artifice, okay, the amendments were gone. Oops. Yeah, but it's very problematic, and we had meetings about it, we sorted out, and don't worry, no, we just removed the amendments. No, it's okay, yeah, go away, okay, it's good. And so what we learned afterwards is that the Department of Commerce, the head of Department of Commerce, US, Carlos Gutierrez, activated the embassy, how do you call it, diplomatic line with the European Commission. So the European Commission would make some pressure on the French Senate. The French Senate got a delegation of 14 people from Apple Corporation, America, went there and explained it, oh, we understand our business and problems and, when the music and internet and blah, 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 and we know about it. And they just removed the amendments, proving again what we just said, that it's basically a problem of industry, and it's basically a problem of who will control the pipes, who will control the release and the communication of content in digital era. Okay, so it's bad, but we had many positive things. Anyway, this is a lobbying meeting where you get people from the music industry facing right-wing deputies. And this image was taken in a documentary that was passed on the main public TV channel during during the process of the exam of the law, talking about the law. So one of the very positive things we had was a kind of big mediatic impact for such a complex and technical issue. So lobbying practices were put in the daylight, like responsible from authors and composers associations were going to see the member of parliament saying to them, oh, if you vote for this and this and this amendment, then we will cut the subventions for the festivals in your area, and things like this. And this was said. This was said with half words, but this was said on TV. So this was said, the word logiciel libre, free as freedom software, were pronounced more than 200 times in both chambers of the parliament, where they hadn't been said once before. So for us, it was very, very important things too. And most of all, we gained very strong contacts with some politics who saw that we knew how to build documentation, we knew how to make people angry sometimes, that we knew how to raid a phone central in the parliament, and so on and so on. So basically, I think the most precious things we had is that there were so many back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with the amendments that the text nowadays is completely filled with bad things. Yeah, it's ununderstandable. Any law people looking at it say, oh my, oh. And so, yeah, basically it will never be used for anything bad, we hope. And we will have quite powerful tools to challenge it, like some legal minds here and there. So what was really interesting is that during the whole buzz we made around this, some other initiative sprouted in which we took an important part, called stopdrm.info, basically by people that were talking on the forum we had set up for talking about